Hello, and welcome. It is December. Do you guys realize that we are 9 days into the last month of the year? And today we want to talk about why three multi-million CEOs just did something that makes it look like they went backwards and why it's actually genius. Okay, so we're going to jump right on in. And if you see me looking down, it's because I'm looking at my notes only because I want to stay on task and make sure that I'm not going off on a tangent because you know that I am full of stories about how I help my clients and I get super excited, but I want to make sure that I share this lesson with you and give you the best of the best. Okay? Deal? All right, let's hop right in. So tell me this. What do a 1.2 million CEO who just fired her entire sales team, a multi-seven-figure entrepreneur taking back her sales process, and an eight-figure bound visionary restructuring her entire company have in common? They all just made a decision that looks like going backwards, but it is actually the smartest move they could make. Okay. And if you're a female CEO generating at least $500,000 in your business, then you definitely want to hear the story. All right. Because what they figured out can be the difference between scaling to your next level or staying trapped in the chief everything officer of your own company. All right. So, hi, I'm Yolanda Churchwell. I know better than that. Let me introduce myself. I'm Yolanda Churchwell, the CEO's fractional COO, and I have recently had conversations or been privy to information that has stopped me in my tracks. So let's talk about these three situations that literally had me gasping for breath and woke me up this morning like, oh my goodness, we are on the precipice of something great. All right. So first situation, my client who runs multi six figure launches. She's already good at what she does. She's running launch events that are pulling in virtually six figures. We're not even going to talk about her live events. She called me to tell me that she fired her entire external sales team. She's going back to doing the calls herself. Okay. Then I call them business buddies, somebody who I know who's also in business, and we have conversations and lean on each other, talk to each other. We're in some of the same circles, but she's generating multi seven figures with operations in multiple countries, at least 3 countries. And she announced that she's taken back control of her sales process. Are we starting to see a little trend here? Then my mentor, who is positioned to hit 8 figures next year, has spent the last few months restructuring her team to focus on sales and client delivery. Now, if you're watching this and you're thinking, wait, that sounds like they're going backwards, you're missing the point entirely. See, there's this thing that happens to successful female entrepreneurs that no one warns you about. Okay. It's called, I call it the 500,000 plus trap. You've proven your concept, revenue is consistent, your team is growing. From the outside, you've made it. But behind the scenes, you're very possibly drowning in your own success. You're making 47 decisions before 10 a.m. in the morning. Your team asks you absolutely everything, all of the syllables. You're working 60 plus hours a week or more, but you feel like you're always behind. You have literally become the chief everything officer instead of the visionary CEO that you were meant to be. And some of you are confused. You think the chief everything officer means that you are so caught up in the day-to-day and the admin that's not all that it means. It also means that your attention is not where it should be. But we're going to go into that in a little bit deeper in just a moment. Here's the brutal truth, though. When you're operating as a chief everything officer and not a visionary CEO, you can't scale what you can't systematize. If you can't put strategy, processes, and systems in place, then you're not systematizing your business and you cannot scale. You will be stuck at that $500,000, $600,000 revenue mark unless you make some changes. Those 3 CEOs that I started this story out about, that I started this teaching out about, they recognized that. They figured it out. Okay? So let me tell you why their backwards move is actually brilliant for those of you who are like, I still don't get it. Okay? They're implementing step 1 of what I like to call the bag method. Okay? It's my framework that helps you shift from chief everything officer to visionary CEO. Okay? So the B stands for begin with your highest revenue generating task. I said a minute ago that being a chief everything officer is not only not doing the things that you shouldn't be doing, but it's not doing the things you should be doing. 9 times out of 10, your highest revenue generating tasks are going to be sales and client delivery. Okay? So these women, they're not going backwards. They're actually going foundational. They're taking control of those activities that directly impact their bottom line while they build an operational foundation that's going to support everything else. But here's what most CEOs miss. Steps 2 and 3 of the framework require an outside eye. The A stands for automate, delegate, and systematize everything else. Or as you've heard me say in the past, create a plan to do everything else easier and better. You cannot see the gaps when you're standing in it. You can't tell the story when you're in the middle of it. You can't identify the bottlenecks when you are the bottleneck. Okay? The G stands for graduate to leading your business, not working in and for your business. Okay? This is how you become a true visionary CEO, because you're able to see opportunities, make strategic decisions, and focus on growth instead of firefighting. If you've been here before, you know that I tell the story that when you're a chief everything officer, you're down in the weeds of things. But as you climb up that mountain and you put this framework into place, you get those things in place, you go up the mountain. And at the top of the mountain, if you've ever been at the top of the mountain or even seen a picture where you're looking at a mountaintop, looking from a mountaintop, you can see the water. Those are rivers of opportunity and streams of income. For CEOs, that's what that represents. So if you don't get to the top of the mountain and become a visionary CEO, you can't see those multiple income streams. You can't see those new collaborations. You can't see those new partnerships. And the good thing about this is it's not a one and done. So you get to the top of this mountain, you don't take on some new opportunities, and guess what? Up pops a new mountain. And so you're going to need some new strategies, some new SOPs, some new systems, so you can get to the top of the next mountain. But you can't be a mountain climber if you don't have a guide. Okay? And I learned this lesson the hard way. Okay? I'm a share. I'm very transparent. I'm a share. Years ago, I owned a retail store, specializing in hard to find dress sizes. I had plus sizes for women, big and tall for men. It was dress clothes, Sunday go to meeting, for those of you who are familiar. And it was an instant success. I had a brick and mortar with customers traveling from 3 different states, booming online orders, vendor events, personal shopping requests. I literally became a personal stylist, which wasn't something I signed up for, but that's what I became for pastors and first ladies. But behind the scenes, as the store continued to grow, I was a hot mess. The store was a hot mess. Some clients were getting incredible service, while others got whatever was left of me after I'd done everything else. Okay? Paperwork piled up. Again, y'all know where I worked. I'm a licensed CPA, but my sales tax returns were always, not sometimes, not a lot, not always late. I was constantly apologizing to myself and to my clients for delays in back orders and processing and things. I was failing not for a lack of demand, but because of a lack of foundation. Okay? I had a beautiful front end. Everything was beautiful, but it was a very ugly back end. Is this sounding familiar to anybody? If this sounds familiar, drop ugly back end in the chat. Okay? So let me tell you, when you see a woman and she has on what you think is a beautiful outfit, but you know that her undergarments aren't quite right because her dimples and rolls are just popping out all over the place. That was my business. I needed a girdle. I needed that firm foundation for my business so that just like with a woman's clothes, they accentuate your curves. Okay. Well, guess what? I figured that out. And today I run a multi-six-figure business helping 6 and 7-figure female CEOs do exactly what those three smart women are doing. I help you to build an operational foundation that actually supports your vision. I'm going to say that again. I help you to build an operational foundation that supports your vision. Okay? I've helped clients who've gone from 70-hour work weeks. Sarah went from a 70-hour work week to 45 hours a week while growing her business from 800,000 breaking through that to 1.2 million in just 8 months. Michelle reclaimed more than 60 hours a month and launched her first automated system. She had been doing everything manually and by hand before that. Jessica increased her revenues by 40% after implementing the appropriate, proper operational structure. And let's not forget about Amanda, who learned how to delegate and systematize effectively and removed herself from one of her client delivery processes completely. Let me tell you what I do know. The pattern is always the same. My clients come to me feeling like they are drowning in their own success, but they leave with a business that runs without them as the hero of their story. Now, if you're watching this and you're thinking, this is exactly what I'm going through, type "I'm going through it" in the chat. I'm going through it. If you are up scrolling LinkedIn at 11 o'clock at night because your brain won't shut off about tomorrow's operational fires, or you're secretly afraid of taking one good real vacation because everything could fall apart, I want to help you. I want to help you. I have opened up 10 VIP operational audit spots for December. And I really need to rephrase that because I was on the phone with somebody earlier and they secured one. So I have 9 left. This is what happens in these operational audits, CEO operational audits. First of all, I'm going to do a pre-audit. Okay. A lot of times you register for something, you get there, and that person doesn't know anything about your business. Well, guess what? You're going to complete a strategic intake form and data request. It's going to take you about 5 minutes so that I can understand your business before we even hop on the call. Then you're going to spend 90 minutes with me on Zoom, 90 minutes. Some of us spend more time at networking meetings and dinners. You're going to spend 90 minutes where I'm going to review your workflows, your team roles, and the tools that you're using with fresh eyes. As one of my coaches used to say, it's a preacher who said it, you can't see the label from inside the jar. I'm going to help you to see what people are seeing, what you're going through. Okay. Then you're going to get an analysis. Okay. I'm going to identify what are your top 3 operational gaps. What are those bottlenecks that are keeping you trapped? What are those specific things that are keeping you as a chief everything officer? And then there's the plan. Within 48 hours of that 90-minute session, you're going to receive a written 10-day action plan plus the full recording of our 90 minutes together. And if that wasn't enough, because a lot of people deliver a VIP day and they're done with you, you're going to get the follow-up. You're going to get one 30-minute session with me one-on-one within 2 weeks to ensure that you are implementing and answering all of those questions, that you're implementing what we talked about in the plan, and I'm answering your questions. The normal investment for this is $2,497. But because it's December and we in that finish the year strong season, I'm offering these 9 sessions for $1,997. $1,997. That's it. That's $500 off. But more importantly, it's going to give you the clarity that you need to plan your 2026 properly. Many of us, and I say us because I'm growing my business as well, many of us are tightening up, filling in the gaps, making sure that that plan for 2026 is strong. These sessions will help you to be able to do that. Because this is what I've learned after helping several female CEOs. Your business will never grow greater than the operational foundation that is supporting it. Those 3 smart CEOs that I mentioned at the beginning, they're not just taking back control of sales. They're preparing their businesses for the next level of growth by building systems that can actually support their vision. So my question to you is, are you ready to stop being the bottleneck in your business? Are you ready to shift from chief everything officer to visionary CEO? Are you ready to get on your own mountaintop? Are you ready to build a foundation that can actually support where you want to go? If you answered yes to any of these questions, then I want you to type the word foundation in the chat, and I'm going to make sure that you get the information so you can book your CEO operational audit. Remember, there's only 9 spots. There were 10 this morning. This afternoon, we're at 9. Once they're gone, you have to get in January. Why wait till 2026 to figure out what it is you need to fix? Okay? So I limit these spots because the work that we do is intensive and it's personalized. Okay? This isn't a cookie cutter approach. Okay? I'm going to talk to you specifically about your business and your roadblocks and be able to give you a plan for the next 10 days in your business. Don't wait until January to fix what's broken now. Let's get to it today. All right? I'll talk to y'all soon. See you later.